Father John Gerard was a spy. In November of 1588, he was among a team of 4 Jesuit priests sent from Rome and secretly landed on the shores of England, with the mission of making contact with and ministering to that country's Roman Catholic community. He joined a clandestine network of Catholic operatives controlled from their headquarters in London. Born in England, Father Gerard mingled easily among English society, passed himself off as a gentleman of leisure. It was a dangerous existence, as evidenced by the fact that Father Gerard's 3 companions in the leading party were eventually discovered and executed. Gerard remained undetected for 6 years until his betrayal by a servant in his household in which he was staying. After 3 years in captivity, he was taken to the Tower of London, where he was subject to torture in an effort to force him to confess that he was there in a mission to overthrow Queen Elizabeth, and to reveal the identity of the leader of the spy ring. Despite the pain, he refused to divulge any information. On the night of October 4th, 1597, he made a daring escape from the tower with help of friends on the outside. He slipped into the English countryside and remained undiscovered for another 8 years. Finally, with the attempt to blow up Parliament and the discovery of the gunpowder plot in 1605, the political atmosphere became too dangerous. Father Gerard slipped out of the country and sailed to the European continent disguised as a member of the Spanish diplomat mission. This is his story. We went to the torture room in kind of a procession, the attendants walking ahead with lighted candles. The chamber was underground and dark, particularly near the entrance. It was a vast place, and every device and instrument of human torture was there. They pointed out some of them to me and said I would try them all. Then he asked me again whether I would confess. "I cannot," I said. I fell on my knees for a moment's prayer. Then they took me to a big, upright pillar, one of the wooden posts which held the roof of this huge underground chamber. Driven into the top of it were iron staples for supporting heavy weights. Then they put my wrists into iron gauntlets and ordered me to climb 2 or 3 wicker steps. My arms were then lifted up and an iron bar was passed through the iron rings of one of the gauntlets, then through the staple and rings to the second gauntlet. This done, they fastened a bar with a pin to prevent it from slipping, and then removing the wicker steps one by one from under my feet, they left me hanging by my hands and arms fastened above my head. The tips of my toes, however, still touched the ground, and they had to dig the earth away from under them. They had hung me up from the highest staple in this pillar and could not raise me any higher without driving in another staple. Hanging like this, I began to pray. The gentlemen around me then began to ask me whether or not I was willing to confess now. "I cannot, and I will not," I answered. But I could hardly utter the words. Such a gripping pain came over me. It was worse in my chest and belly, my hands and arms. All the blood in my body had seemed to rush into my arms and hands, and I thought that the blood was oozing from the ends of my fingers and the pores of my skin. But it was only a sensation caused by my flesh swelling above the irons holding them. The pain was so intense that I thought I could not possibly endure it, and added to it, I had an interior temptation. Yet I did not feel any inclination or wish to give them the information that they wanted. The Lord saw my weakness with the eyes of his mercy and did not permit me to be tempted beyond my own strength. With the temptation, he sent me relief. Seeing the agony and the struggle going on in my mind, he gave me this most merciful thought. The utmost and worst they can do is to kill you, and you have often wanted to give your life for your own Lord and God. The Lord God sees all you are enduring. He can do all things. You are in God's keeping. With these thoughts, God in his infinite goodness and mercy gave me the grace and recognition. And with a desire to die and a hope I admit that I would, I offered myself to do with me as he wished. From that moment, the conflict in my soul ceased, and even the physical pain seemed much more bearable than before. Though it must in fact, I am sure, have been greater with the growing strain and weariness of my body. Sometime after 1 o'clock, I think, I fell into a faint. How long I was unconscious, I do not know, but I think it was long, for the men held my body up or put the wicker steps under my feet until I came to. Then they heard me pray and immediately let me down again. And they did this every time I fainted, 8 or 9 times that day, before I even struck 5. A little later they took me down. My legs and feet were not damaged, but it was a great effort to stand upright.